Well, I mean, you started out with the last play of the game, 2.8 seconds left. What were you drawing up?
Well, that was our second option. We drew up something to overload and get the ball inside of Joe Lawson, but midway through the timeout, I didn't like that play, so we ran something to get the ball back to Tyree. And a lot of times, just watching other teams play when it's in a situation like that, everybody forgets about the inbounder. So I wanted to get Tyree in a situation where the dribble handoff, so he's able to pass the ball into Brendan McElroy. And Brendan handed it back off to him. We put Reese on the other side over there, so if they did help off, he had a drive and kick opportunity, but they didn't help off with Reese. And Tyree got to the basket. But it happened just like I thought it would. I knew they had two decisions to make to, either help off of Tyree or help off of Reese rather, or let Tyree get to the basket, because there's a couple other options we had, but fortunately for Tyree, he's one of the fastest guys in the league, was able to get to the bucket and make a really big time layup for us to end the basketball game.
What's the emotion like? I mean, you gave up the 12-point lead. They got up by as many as 7. You guys come all the way back and get it on the last second shot. What's the emotion?
It's a fun game to play, especially when you come out on top. But we made too many mistakes on the defensive end. I mean, those guys shot 55% from 3. I thought we were a little bit winded. We got to decrease some of our guys' minutes. I think once they get tired, a lot of mental mistakes happen. So we'll decrease some guys' minutes going into the Quincy game, and then and going forward. But the mental aspect, at one point, I know guys in the timeout, everybody started pointing fingers, but we were able to regroup, and guys start, being more accountable on defense and holding each other more accountable. So that's what makes this team pretty good, because we showed some resilience tonight.
Speaking about defense, the possession before you all took over, it was tied, and they could have held for the last shot, but instead you guys got a steal. They turned the ball over. Then the subsequent foul, and the rest. But what were you guys playing on? What was the plan on that defensive possession?
Well, we went small.
Yeah.
We took out Joe Lawson and we went small. We were going to switch everything, because I thought we made mistakes when those guys screened. They was able to slip into the knife of the defense and get into the paint. So we went small, so we can switch a couple of things. I don't like switching, but in that situation we almost had to, because they were so good and made so many great reads tonight, for some of the mistakes we made. So we went small to switch, and luckily we got a deflection and got a steal and got fouled, and the rest is history.
Seemed like they did a pretty good job in the second half, denying Lawson down low, but Cheatham really stepped up. He had 2 points at the half, but finished with, I think, 15 or 17. And I mean, is that something you kind of expect from him as a senior?
Well, I know Reese is a senior, and he's a couple of years ago against Bellarmine, he has no points and come out and scored 21 in the second half. I know. Once we got him a couple of clean looks, he was going to come back and start making some shots. And we were fortunate enough the second half to get him some early looks at the basket, and he made some shots. Lawson had a spectacular first half. I think 13 points, 10 rebounds. I think he ran out of gas. He played 38 minutes tonight. So we got to think about resting him a little bit and not, playing him so much. He was tired. He chased, because he don't normally chase. And tonight he had to chase those guys because they had so many shooters out there tonight.
I mean, how do you? It seems like he has a lot of opportunities to pass out from the post when he gets doubled and sometimes tripled and things like that. I mean, he seems like he's a pretty efficient passer as well as for a big man.
He is, and he's doing a better job of reading where the traps are coming from. I know tonight they were traveling off of McElroy, so we made sure he looked over his shoulder the other way. They mixed it up, some of the second half, and made him look a lot of different ways. I think that kind of bothered him a little bit, but he figured out after 1 or 2 mistakes he made. But he's such a good passer, but he's also strong. He can go through some of those double teams, and he did tonight. Got a couple of 3-point plays out of the situation.
A few big games left. 3 of the last 4 at home. How do you guys prepare for Saturday, and not look past Quincy on to next week?
Well, that's my job as a coach to make sure we don't think about the next 2 games after. We've been doing a great job as a team thus far of locking in on one opponent at a time. We don't, so far rather, we haven't thought about the game after one. We never will overlook anybody because we understand the magnitude of each and every game. This is a big game for us. And I told those guys in the locker room, Saturday night is just as big as the game tonight. So we have to make sure, as coaches, we have our guys locked in on the task at hand.
What would you like to see from your team Saturday night?
Well, we got to build them to win tonight. I know it was a hard-fought basketball game. I thought we made a lot of errors on the defensive end. I thought we held the ball too much on offense tonight. I thought the first half we moved it pretty good and we got what we wanted. You know, second half we became stagnant, you know, on the offensive end. I think we got to just keep moving the basketball. Defensively, we just got to do a better job with our communication. I think once we communicate, I think everything else will take care of itself. We dominated the boards tonight, but we just didn't communicate, which, you know, when you're playing against a good motion team like Truman, if you don't talk in their motion, on your defense against their motion, they're going to cut you up and get layups like they did tonight. But, you know, down the stretch, the last few minutes, we talked. Once we finally started talking, we made some big plays to get us in a situation to win.
Man, that wasn't the first, you know, down to the wire home game for you guys this year. But I mean, what was it like again being able to walk away on Nickerson's court? I saw you, you know, giving the crowd a little love at the end of the game.
Well, it's great, you know, when you have the crowd out. You know, I know our guys don't really, you know, look at those guys and give them the head nod, but we hear those guys cheering for us, and it's always great. You know, it was louder here tonight. You know, we didn't have a whole. The stadium wasn't sold out, but we had enough to make some noise, and they were chanting defense. You know, they're yelling to get stops, and it's a great feeling when you're at home and you have that kind of support. I thought the student section was great tonight. They really, you know, our guys build off those guys because they're, you know, those are their peers. So, but it was great. You know, I always, as a coach, when you win games like that, a lot of credit goes to the sixth man, and that's why I wanted to acknowledge those guys tonight because, you know, without them, you know, tonight, who knows what happened.